I just got back from Georgia Bushcraft, the Fall Gathering 2025. It's always a fun time. I spent almost a week in that field in my truck. I met many of you guys also, so thank you for stopping by and saying hello. There's always some new faces there as far as like brands and companies, new gear, and a lot of really cool things. So I try to bring home as much of that as I can to show you, and that's exactly what we have here today. The coolest stuff that I could find at Georgia Bushcraft Fall Gathering 2025. And with that said, let's do the damn thing. This was a personal pickup, something I saw and I was like, I kind of want that. This is from Casström. They are Swedish knife makers. They make a lot of really cool bushcraft blades, but I saw this on their table and I was like, I already have a wooden mug, but it is not cool like this one. This is a curly birch Kuksa. Kuksa, I believe is how it's pronounced. Very, very cool. I just thought it was beautiful. They only had one left and I bit the bullet. I thought it was really, really neat, and it's gonna take some love to get this thing not smelling like it does. But I do love drinking from wooden mugs. I know that's really cheesy, but I do. There's just something about this that I like a lot. So I picked it up. I don't expect you guys to care. I don't expect you guys to want one yourself. Maybe you do, but I picked it up because I thought it was very, very neat, and it's gonna be the one that goes with me in my camp rig. All right, we're also gonna talk about this real quick. I can't remember if we've talked about Crystal Creek gear on the channel or not. I know I've done some stuff on their gear, but this is my favorite way to fish now. I'm not just saying that. I'm not paid by Crystal Creek. We do stock them at Carry Commission, but we stock them because legitimately this is my favorite way to fish. And I'm like halfway done with a video with Crystal Creek. I'll show you more later, but this is their GoReel Pro. Before they had a GoReel kit, which was 3D printed, and it had tackle, it had a hand reel inside, it was all enclosed, very neat kit. The problem with it is it was 3D printed. They didn't necessarily hold up forever. They held up pretty well. They were fairly affordable, but now they have injection molded kits, which are very, very nice. The finger holes in those reels are bigger, but they also have this. This is an aluminum GoReel Pro. Is there tape? There is not. So I actually bought one of these when they first launched them. Mine is orange. I've used it a lot. My son actually caught his first bass on one. This is just a totally different kind of fishing, and you can get in and fish anywhere. So if you go to a pond and you're trying to snag a bass and you know that they're at this one place and there's just way too much tree cover, you can get there with this, and you can get up under that tree and just kind of toss your line out. I have been completely surrounded by brush and being able to throw a line in and catch a fish in a place that with a rod I never could. I'm not trying to hard sell you on this. I'm just telling you, don't sleep on this. This thing is very, very cool and legitimately the way that I like to fish now. I have rods and reels, I have bait casters, spinner reels, all kinds of tackle. This is my favorite thing to take and go fishing. My family thinks I'm crazy when we go and I break this out, but I legitimately love this thing. And I bought one with my own money. This one is one that we'll stock here at Carry Commission in the very near future. So this is the Pro, made of aluminum. It comes with some line on it, some braid. And then you also have this little product, which is a line keeper. It's just a little elastic band, and you can use this to keep everything nice and neat and stored so your line doesn't unspool when it's not in use. So that is the GoReel Pro from Crystal Creek Gear. I freaking love these things. Not exaggerating, one of the coolest products I've ever used. I have shown you these things before. This is the Brautigam Expedition Works TI Pack Shovel. So I have one of the early models. You can see it's a bead blasted titanium, so it's got this matte finish to it. Kind of takes on a bunch of, like almost a patina. The more you use it, the more scratches and gunk and stuff you get on there that's not necessarily easy to clean off. And then the newer ones are like a stone washed, and they are a little, they wear better, I think, over time. But regardless, I have used the absolute crap out of this thing. This is one of my favorite things to take backpacking now. It's a chopper, it's a shovel. You can use it to baton wood. You can do so many things with this, and it just seems ridiculous, but it is the truth. So my friend Jonathan Burton, or the Bearded Burton, over on Instagram and here on YouTube, I had him use goon tape and handle wrap these with this really cool pattern, so it adds extra grip. It's already kind of warm to the touch for metal because titanium just kind of is that way, but this adds the grip that you need to really, really put this thing through its paces. But also, these things just come with this little rubber trim piece that you put on here to cover the edge. I never liked that, so I picked up 2 different shovel covers. So this is the one from Brautigam, and then this is an exclusive from P&W Bushcraft that Brautigam sells exclusively as well. So both of these are offered by Pete over at Brautigam Expedition Works. It's a necessary thing. If you buy one of these shovels, you should probably get one of these covers with it. They're actually a lot more aftermarket than I expected. Well, at least a lot more options for covers for these shovels than I expected. So I love these. These are up there with the GoReel. Freaking love them. He's got more lengths of them now. He's got T-handles. He even has an overland one, which is like a 48-inch shovel. Very, very neat. And Pete is a wizard, and he's coming up with all kinds of really cool stuff beyond just these shovels. Because I also picked up one of his titanium spatulas. I picked one up, I think, last fall. Love that thing. It's actually really, really sick. So I picked up a spare and another set of tongs. He's got like utensils that are great, but where he really shines are these little things. The thing about Pete is he's the real deal. He goes out, he's from Wisconsin, he goes out into the wilderness and just is. I think he has like a 18-day excursion solo coming up, and it's gonna be like harsh winter weather. Like, he's a G. He's a really cool guy, but he's a G, and he goes out and he hot tent camps and does all kinds of stuff. I'm telling you all that to tell you that like what he's doing is he's going out there and he's like finding these little things that are really annoying about the gear that he's already using. And then he comes home and makes these pieces of gear that make it better. He does sporks, like titanium sporks and spoons and forks. He has all sorts of different utensils like that. But then you have these, the Dirt Dart tent stakes. So he has them in 2 or 4 packs, standard or XL length. These are the standard. I got 8 of these. I purchased all of this stuff because I want to support Pete and what he does. So this is a titanium stake, very thin, so it goes in very easy. All these other stakes you get are like a V-shape aluminum, and they are sometimes very tough to drive into the dirt. So these go in, they are welded, titanium welded up here. And then you have this little piece up top, which is like a boat cleat. And then you have effectively what is like a pulley. So I have a product from War Bonnet, which is a hammock company, called a tarp tick. And this is effectively a tarp tick welded to a stake. So that means that basically instead of having this little piece of titanium that's in between your tent and your stake, or your tarp and your stake, you have it on the stake. The cordage is really just going from here to your tarp. That means you tie your line, your bank line, to your tarp and go straight to the stake, and then just cinch it down and boat cleat it. Stupid simple. Like, this is something that should have been done a long time ago. Pete just did it, and I haven't used these yet, but I can tell you, these are gonna be in my backpacking kit for sure. They are replacing the stakes that I have in there that I actually just bought. They're replacing the tarp ticks. These are now, it's one piece of gear. I don't have to have stakes and tarp ticks and my bank line. It's all just this, and the bank line is tied straight to my tarp. What a brilliant idea. So brilliant. These are $15 for a 2-pack, so they're cheaper than I expected, but they are more expensive than a typical tent stake, which is like $1. So they are more expensive. They are maybe a little bit heavier than your traditional aluminum stake, but it's an all-in-one thing. I'm okay with whatever 1 gram more that this weighs than a typical stake. Don't care. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank our channel sponsors who make all of this possible. Obviously, you guys do as well. So I'm always thankful that you guys watch and comment and have made this channel what it is, but I also have to thank the brands that support what we do here. First up, I want to thank Worksharp. They make amazing sharpeners. Here is your reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. Check out Worksharp for all sharpening needs. Plus, they also make really cool knives now. It's called the RMX, and it is very, very sick. The final drop for the Blackout RMX is November 17th, so don't be late because they go pretty quickly. I also want to thank Big Idea Design. You probably know them for their titanium pocket tools or the amazing pins they make. They also make knives. They have watches. They have markers now, bolt action markers, a set of pocket notebooks made in Chattanooga. They're awesome people. Go check them out. You can use my coupon code BDEDC or the link in the description down below for 10% off at checkout. I also want to thank Blade Binge. So Blade Binge, as you may know, is a secondary marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade all sorts of EDC goods. So if you have knives that you need to get rid of and make a little cash before the holidays, you can go list your favorite knives or the knives that you no longer carry over at Blade Binge. But they also have a store. It's the Blade Binge shop, and they do collaborations like this one right here. They have a dark mode collaboration with Devo on this one's called the Brittany, and then they also have the Tri-Stash. They have a lot of really cool stuff over in their store. Go check it out. It's called Blade Binge Shop. And then we've got these. These are called Twig Savers, and this is a pretty genius way to get your gear up off the ground. Obviously, there's many ways to do that, but you have this. So you have a piece of Dyneema cord. You take this around a tree, you loop it back through this hole so it's knotted here as a keeper. You go around the tree, you bring the line back through this hole, and then you have another boat cleat right here, right there. That boat cleat, you tie this Dyneema cord off right there, and you have a hook where you can hold your gear up off the ground. So I have 2 of these. I probably won't need 2 pieces of Dyneema, but you can string multiple of them together and just have a few of these hooks to keep your gear up off the ground. Amazing. These were pretty cheap. I think they were like 10, 12 bucks. Super cheap. Just a quality of life upgrade for somebody who spends a lot of time outdoors. Check out Brautigam if you haven't already. He's making a really, really cool selection of stuff. Some very, very niche, and he's very aware of how niche some of it is, but things like this, I am very happy to pick up and support Pete because he's making awesome stuff. He's also a great dude, so. And you guys know I don't go to Georgia Bushcraft and come back without Tuff Possum gear. I didn't buy any bags this year because I have way too many Tuff Possum bags. Way too many. Also, I got to cook with Granddaddy Possum, that's what I call him. But his name is Richard Miller. It's Jay Barry's dad. So the dad of the owner of Tuff Possum Gear. Awesome guy. We got to cook for the volunteers at Georgia Bushcraft. So he and I cooked pork butt. He cooked the pork butt and I cooked salmon tacos, and it was awesome. It was a great experience for me. I love the Millers. They are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But I did have to swing by. I asked Jay Barry a couple of questions, which you'll see in a future video. But also I said, you got anything new? And he said, yes. I have this EDC trifold trauma kit. So this is like, shit hit the fan, you need something now. That's what this is. This is not your first aid. I mean, it says first aid, but this is not your like bumps and scratches boo-boo kit. This is shit serious, you need some stuff now. So we have a slot here for a cat tourniquet on the outside, a little elastic loop to keep your tourniquet. And then this pops open with 2 snaps, which I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble. We'll get to this in just a minute. And you have basically 3 pockets on the inside. This is for nitrile gloves, so you can just stuff a couple of gloves down in there. You have enough room right here. This is specifically designed for 2 packs of wound packing gauze, and then you have enough room back here for 2 chest seals or wound seals. So that is literally how this is designed to be used. You have wound seal or chest seal, you have gauze and gloves and your tourniquet. So that is like, this thing is like, okay, somebody's got some holes in them. We're gonna patch them up as fast as we can and wait for more help. That's what this is. So that is the EDC trauma kit from Tuff Possum. He also came out with these little covert slips. And as you can see, this hole also has a slit on either side, and that is meant for you to be able to put this over the button of your pants or a button, or you can basically hide this in various ways using buttons and other things that can slip over. So you can have something like one of these little kits. So this I think is new. This is called the Bogota V2 Quad plus Hook Lockpick Set. So you have a quad hump, and then you also have a hook, but both of these also double as torsion wrenches. So you can use this one as your torsion wrench while you're using a hook, or vice versa, this one becomes your torsion wrench while you're using the quad to bump. So this is a very compact but still very useful pair of lockpick tools, and they are designed to go right down into this little sleeve and tuck away very, very neatly. And this, Jay Barry said fits, but it's a squeeze to get this in here. I think I've shown this one before. This is part of a bigger set, but he sells these individually. This is called the lock bypass tool. So you have a 4-pin, 5-pin, 6-pin bypass key. So this works almost exactly like a key on those smaller like master locks. If it's a 4-pin, you can literally put this in, lift up and turn it, and it opens right up. You've got, I don't remember the name of this, but these are used almost like jigglers for like file cabinets and stuff. Those type of locks, these work on those. And then this is a TSA bypass. So you can just shove this into a TSA lock and turn it like a key, and it works. I've opened stuff with all of these. They work really, really well, and that is extremely compact. It doesn't really fit in here super well, but Jay Barry said it does. So we're just gonna force it. Don't do what I do, kids. These covert slips come as a 2-pack, and these are separate products sold separately. I don't know if this was meant to be with this. Maybe that was an accident, I'm not sure. But those are the things that I got from Tuff Possum this year. No bags, just lockpick and EDC trauma. Ow, I've gotta stop doing that. All right, you wanna know about the hand? I'll tell you about the hand. This is what got my hand. So this is a Kentucky belt axe from Lonon, or Jason Lonon Toolmaker. He's in Marion, North Carolina, not too far from here. He is actually the man who taught Liam Hoffman everything he knows, or so I heard. Jason was actually hanging around while I was cooking with Richard Miller, and they apparently go way back. It was just a really cool thing to meet him, and then I came by his booth, and he had this little belt axe. It was the last one, so I snagged this. And the other day, on Monday, the day after I got back from Georgia, this thing had Plasti Dip on it, so I peeled the Plasti Dip off, literally minutes after telling Ricky not to peel the Plasti Dip off because it doesn't go back on. And I noticed how sharp this thing is, and I tried to put the Plasti Dip back on because I was like, wow, that's insanely sharp for an axe. And I put the Plasti Dip on, and it went straight through into the palm of my hand. It was dumb. I shouldn't have done it. I knew as I was doing it that I shouldn't, but I was really putting very little pressure to try and get that Plasti Dip back on there. And this thing was just so sharp. It went straight through that, sliced my hand open. 5 stitches later, here we are. Fortunately, I don't think I hit anything vital. I'm having a little bit of pain in my index finger, but I have motion back. We're 5 days after this happened, and I can use my hand a little bit. I probably shouldn't. I should have this wrapped up right now, but I needed to make this video. The wound is mostly closed up except for that little stitch there that the nurse who stitched me up kind of tore my skin and pulled a stitch through, but we're mostly back. Just to show you what we're dealing with here with this axe. I am a little stunted, but by far the sharpest axe I've ever handled. I've had some sharp axes before. I've had some shaving sharp axes, but this thing takes the cake. So yeah, I'm happy I bought it. I'm very upset that I put it through my palm, but this thing is wicked sharp. I never felt a thing. I didn't even know I was cut until I saw the blood. And there was a lot of it after that, but can't wait to actually use this axe. Not on my own hand. Go check out Lonon Tools. Really cool people, very close to me, and I'd like to probably pick up some more of their tools. I was eyeing a few things, and I'm glad I got this. I hate I put it through my hand. All right, speaking of putting stuff through your hands and first aid, we have this right here, the Medic multi-tool from Warrior Kid Medic. So this was actually on Shark Tank, and I believe got funded. All it is this little bandana, or it's really a triangle cloth or bandage. Cool thing about it is that the owner, his name is Dustin, his whole purpose was to try and teach people some basic first aid with this cloth. They're not very expensive. It's kind of balled up, so it's hard to show you everything right now. But the idea is that using the QR code here on this, all these are free. You don't have to buy one to be able to access this. The information for the first aid is all free. So you can scan that QR code right there. That'll take you to his website. You can learn some of this basic first aid that is very important. I actually just opened up the other one, so I had 2 of these. And this one doesn't have the QR code here. The QR code's on this piece of paper, but it's got all the same information. You have wound packing, regular tourniquet, pressure bandage, ring pad, loop hitch tourniquet, foot wrap, hand wrap, sling, splint, and a handful of other uses like sun protection, keep sweat out of your eyes, dust protection. And the bottom says, remember, you are a calm presence with common sense, and your most powerful tool is your brain. I think this is a really cool product. It's very, very simple. It's budget friendly too. It's 12 bucks for this. The case I think is another 15. So if you don't want that, you could just have this. You can wear this. You could just keep it in a pocket. Very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just a cotton cloth, but it's got the information you need for like very, very essential first aid. If you get hurt, need to pack a wound, wrap something up with a tourniquet or a sling. There's a lot of stuff that can be done with just a simple piece of fabric. I think that's very cool. And what Dustin's doing, the first aid videos and information on that is very neat as well. So go check him out. He was funded on Shark Tank. They're available on Amazon. So these are very easy to come by and very affordable. So grab one. I will definitely be taking this backpacking next time. Here's one of the coolest things that I found at the show. This is from Pancea X Survival Tools. He's got some really crazy stuff like a machine gun chainsaw thing. And then we have this, which is the Firefly. So the Firefly is a tiny survival knife that is meant to be worn as a neck knife. You could wear it in your pocket if you want. But this is a solid piece of D2 steel. So there's no connection or failure points really. This is just a solid piece of D2 steel. This side is threaded, and you have a ferro rod on the cap, and then this is hollow. When you have it open like this, aha, it becomes a whistle. But fire starter works really well. That's a 90 spine. And then this is the Fowler grind on this knife. There's also kind of like a Tonto, and then also like a high saber. But there's also this add-on for it. So this, I believe, is about 80 bucks. Then there's this add-on. This is called the Fat Bottom. And this also just has a ferro rod on it, but is a bigger bottom. It's waterproof. And then you have inside this piece a little bit of storage for tinder, or like a tinder plug. I have one of these little tinder plugs cut up and put down in there, and then it is watertight. Wouldn't really matter with those, they're waterproof anyway. But you have this sheath that it goes into that has adjustable retention with that screw right there. And then you have this paracord also. This is 3 feet of paracord that you can use for many different things. There is a piece of paper that comes with this that explains so many different things. Rockwell hardness is 58 to 60. 2-inch long blade makes it legal for concealed carry in many states. Belly of the blade is shaped to facilitate easy carving of a divot in a fireboard to make a friction fire. The 7-strand paracord lanyard is over 3 feet long with strands added together equals 21 feet. A lot of thought put into it. And I actually really prefer it with this fat bottom. It makes it easier to use, although right now I'm not really using much with my right hand. It fits in the hand better, it's more to grip, and it's just enough blade to get a lot of work done. So I think this is really neat. I've seen these before. Kelso from Bushcraft Kelso is the first person I saw with one of these. Go check it out, Pancea X. I think they're on his website right now. And speaking of knives, I haven't done a lot of knife stuff at Georgia Bushcraft because there are a lot of knife makers, and I tend to look for not knives, typically. The Pancea X Firefly was really cool. And then we have this from Hellbender Blade Co, who, if you didn't know, is part of River's Edge Cutlery. This is their in-house USA manufacturing that they are doing. And this is the Mud Pup. So you may have seen the Snot Otter, which was their first knife. They have that in 2 sizes, a 4-inch blade and a 2.8-inch blade, I believe. So the 2.8-inch is more EDC friendly. And then they have this big boy right here. This is a Magna Cut knife with probably a close to 5-inch blade. It's about a 4.5-inch cutting edge on this knife. And then this right here, I really like this. So this is burlap micarta, which I typically do not like, but they've textured it. It's got this like wave pattern to it, this mill pattern in the burlap. It actually looks really cool and it feels great. It's got some good grip. Cool knife. And then it has this sheath. I believe this is from JRE, yes. And then you have a slot here for a ferro rod if you would like. Here we'll just shoot, there. It's a little too small, but this is the second knife, I guess, technically. Maybe the second knife from Hellbender Blade Co. But anyway, go check out Hellbender. This knife is not on their website as of right now, but I think it will be available soon. They have a link actually on their website that says, when will knives be available? So if you're interested, you can go there and click that, and you have a little bit more info on when maybe the Mud Pup will be available. But they do have Snot Otters on their website. Speaking of JRE, who made the sheath for that Hellbender, he also made this sheath by JRE Industries, who is going to make the sheath for my knife, which will be out very soon, and I think you should stay tuned. Go follow Carry Commission if you haven't already. We have a knife coming out soon, a Carry Commission knife. It's our first branded knife, so stay tuned. Anyway, this is from Bear Forest Knives, BFK, and this is just a Novaculite stone with a rounded side, a flat side, and it's very similar to, say, the Wazoo Viking Spark that I carry around my neck. That Novaculite there, very same here. It's just a big piece of a whetstone. So you do need a little bit of water or moisture on this stone, and then you can touch up your knives. Very cool. And then with this, you can get serrations. You can probably do quite a few things with this, just a piece of stone. But there's this nice little carrying case made by JRE. And on the backside, you have rough out. So you have a whetstone, and then you have a strop or a honing sheath. You can strop your knife right here on the back of this sheath. I thought that was pretty clever. Sold as a unit. They are on Bear Forest Knives right now. This last item is kind of big. It's gonna be kind of hard to show on camera, but I'm gonna do my best. This, I think, is my favorite pickup from the show. It was I think it was the second thing I purchased, but I am so stoked on this. This is an Oilskin from Empire Wool and Canvas Company. So typically he deals in, I think his name was Kevin, don't quote me on that, but he deals mostly in wool. He's also up there with Brautigam. He lives pretty close to Pete, and they deal with very harsh cold winters, so he has a lot of really cool wool jackets, big heavy thick layers, right? He also has some waterproof stuff. This is one of those. This is a prototype, so these were pretty affordable at the show. I think if you paid cash it was 150 bucks, which for an oilskin made in America, that's pretty dang affordable. I think I paid 180 with a card, so still not crazy, but this is a like a rain layer. And the biggest selling point for me is not only that it is an oilskin, it's also, it has these giant pit vents, which a lot of these like wax canvas or oilskin jackets do not have. And they get hot. They get really, really hot. This thing was warm because they don't breathe. This thing was warm, but with those pit vents, I was actually able to wear this when it wasn't like freezing cold outside. But this is just a rain layer. I've wanted a rain layer for a while. All my old rain jackets have gone bust. All my Gore-Tex, all my old jackets are just kind of useless, need to be thrown away. Most of my rain jackets are just windbreakers. So now I have a true rain layer with this oilskin. It will take some maintenance and some care to keep it working properly, but this thing is awesome. So you have two front pockets here that are zippered. There's a chest pocket, the pit vents on either arm, and then there are like cinches for the hood right here, and on the back there's a hook here for hanging, and then there's also cinches around the bottom so you can keep this tight with a snap. And then my favorite feature of this whole jacket, so silly but I love it, it says "This weather sucks" on the wrist. So really cool. This thing is awesome. These aren't available on his website to my knowledge right now. This was a prototype that I purchased. He had a couple of them. And I think they will be quite a bit more expensive once they actually come out, because he said, I think the tag said poorly made prototype or something like that. So there's like stitching that's not perfect or whatever on this thing, but happy to have purchased it. When these come out, they probably will be more expensive. This is a medium. I first bought a large because I tried on the extra large and I could pull the extra large way out here. Tried the large and it was still very big. My wife said, that's too big, you need a smaller one. So we went back and I got a medium. I typically wear an extra large. This is a medium. So if these do come out on his website and you decide you want one of these, just know they run very, very big. And the reason for that is they're actually designed to go over a PFD. So this is meant to go over your life vest or one that will, puff up. Either way, it's built to have more room in it for that reason. I did not want that because I don't ever really need a life vest or a PFD. I have enough room to wear like a couple of layers under this, but I don't need, a ton of space like that. When it comes down to what I got at the show, there are a lot of really fun things that I can't wait to use and put to the test, like these stakes from Brautigam. But when it comes down to it, my favorite would either be this belt axe from Lonon or this oilskin from Empire Wool and Canvas. Tell me, what do you think is the coolest thing I came home with? Is it this knife? The knife's kind of cool too. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below what the coolest stuff from Georgia Bushcraft that I came home with is, or if you were there or saw some other coverage, what's the coolest thing you saw at the show? That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on. And don't cut yourself with an axe. It sucks. Trust me.